For this year's Heritage Fair, I decided to choose the topic, the Fisher family history. I chose this topic because I wanted to learn more about my family. I will talk about where my family came from, who the oldest living relatives are, my family's importance, what happened in Willard Fisher, my grandfather's life, and where most of the Fishers live now. We trace our history back to George Sachs Sr., my great-great-great-great-grandpa. He was born April 12, 1806 in Rauschenberg, Germany. He married Anna Elizabeth Kessler in 1830. George and Anna lived in Germany until 1857, when they followed their daughter Elizabeth to Canada. My family started out living in Germany, but then lived in many small towns around Saskatchewan. There are still many Fishers living. I chose to talk about 4 of the oldest: Iola Fisher, Howard Fisher, Pat Fisher, and Neil Fisher. Iola is the oldest of the 4. She is 87. Iola is a famous poet. She has written such poems as My Kind of Hero, The Great Motive, A Timely Thought, To the Morning, and Winter in the Wild. She is now living in Memphis, Tennessee. Howard Fisher is the second oldest. He's 83 years old. He taught at Bursay schools from 1951 to 1952. He is now living in the United States. Pat Fisher was born March 18, 1935 in Linden, Saskatchewan. She is 74 years old. She has 5 kids: Patricia, Doug, Duane, Tom, and Christine. Duane passed away in 2008 from Huntington's disease. Pat is still living in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Neil Fisher is the youngest of the 4. He was born May 13, 1948 in Lucky Lake, Saskatchewan. He is 60 years old. He has 2 kids, Amber and Brady. He is now living in Winnipeg, Manitoba. My grandpa, Willard Fisher, was a very busy man. He was involved in many different community events, church events, and so much more. Willard was born February 6, 1924 in Bursay, Saskatchewan. He married Irene Carson on July 5, 1947. They had 6 kids named Neil, Janice, Edward, Gregory, Peggy, and Richard. He lived in Bursay from 1924 to 1962. Due to Irene's allergies, the family moved to Regina, but still spent summers in Bursay. Willard Fisher farmed a large operation for a Regina-based company. He also had an active building business. In 1964, 1965, and 1966, he operated a custom combining business. He would travel to the United States and combine back to Canada. The Fishers were very important, but only to a certain level. They weren't known around the world or anything, but they were known as good-hearted, hard-working people. My great-uncle, Kenneth Fisher, was in World War II. He was also the Canadian Bishop of Community of Christ Church. My great-uncle, Howard Fisher, taught at Bursay schools from 1951 to 1952. My great-uncle, Orville Fisher, was a Bursay school bus driver from 1958 to 1959. He also served on the Saskatoon City Police. My grandpa, Willard Fisher, was a Bursay school board chairman from 1960 to 1963. My great-grandpa, Frederick Fisher, was involved in politics and was very neighborly. Him and his wife raised 10 kids. I have family that lives all across Canada and in the United States. For example, my Aunt Iola lives in Memphis, Tennessee, and her kids live in the United States. Howard Fisher lives in the United States. My Auntie Pat lives in Saskatoon with 2 of her kids. Her other kids live in the United States. Neil and Bernie spent summers in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and spent winters in southern Texas. Edward Fisher lives in St. John's, Newfoundland. Jan and Mel Worrell live in Calgary, Alberta. And Rick and his wife Norma live in Regina, Saskatchewan. Thank you for listening to my presentation on the Fisher family history.